Hello and welcome to episode 143 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we analyze the cost of making the Antimatter multis, though actual construction will happen next episode. We also move and upgrade a lot of the old machines that were on the shelf, add more compact fusion reactors, more Dysons, and more advanced assembly lines. Another grand infrastructure video. For the last few episodes, and also this episode, and probably for the rest of the series, every episode is going to have quite a bit of infrastructure work. Just scaling things up or fixing broken systems, which is what I'm about to do right now. But that's going to be a lot of the rest of the game. I hope you still find that entertaining instead of just doing new stuff. There will also be new stuff, but just a forewarning, I guess. Anyway, the problem I want to start with today is my ore processing overflow drives getting filled up. And the reason this is happening, as far as I can tell, is because these drives for specific dusts are not big enough. So, to solve this, I've made digital singularity storage cells. These are made in a space assembler. They need eternal singularities, 12 16K ME storage components, 8 quantum chest 5s, and they can hold a lot of stuff. In fact, the quest says you can store more than 4 quintillion items. So yeah, I don't think these are going to fill up. This is probably a permanent solution. God, I hope. For reference, I currently have 2.2 billion iron dust that is in that drive and split among all of these drives. 2.2 billion will not even make a dent in the storage cell. So this is probably a permanent solution, which means I need to make a bunch more of these. I think these are also the best single type storage cell, because these ones also exist, but there's 63 types. So I think for a single type, this is the storage cell of the game. So I'm going to make a whole bunch of them and start filtering all my ores so they all have a place to live. And I can probably get rid of this whole overflow system, but well, maybe I should keep it anyway, just in case. So I'm going to do that. Well, that was horrible. And I've also decided that I will be tearing down these mega blast furnaces because I don't use them, so I don't think I will use them, so there's no reason for them to be here, really. And freeing up the space would be nice because then I could decorate it. And specifically, I've decided that this room is going to be the room for everything that takes lasers, and this room will be the room for everything that doesn't. So if I get rid of these mega EBFs, I can put something else in its place, maybe the precise assemblers, and I can actually decorate it. I'm also going to make space pumping modules Mark II because they run at a higher voltage tier and they can do 4 recipes at once. The Mark I only does 1 recipe, so that's pretty crazy. This is going to cost a lot more energy though, so I'm also going to have to make LSCs and put them at each space elevator. And I may as well upgrade to Mark IV motors, because why not? It gives me an additional 3 module slots up from Mark III, so more is better. And they're not particularly expensive for me at this point. Before I do all that infra stuff, let me talk about what goes into the SAS, the Antimatter Forge. Figured it's probably good for me to start crafting this while I work on infra stuff. So let's take a quick look at all of this. The things that go into the controller are nothing special. Compact 5 controller, cosmic fabric manipulators, ultimate field restriction coils, a bunch of proto-halconite. The only thing new here is proto-matter, which I can get from laser engraving molten spacetime. A bit slow, but not the worst thing in the world. The scan is a NAC fuel refinery controller, and the structure is pretty big and cool, and there are 3 new blocks here. Actually 4. Actually 5. So there's the magnetic flux casing. Each craft is going to need a Tengham electromagnet and a bunch of UIV parts. The scan is a proto-halconite frame box. Gravity stabilization casings. This needs graviton anomalies, which in turn need gravitons. Also neutronium stabilization casings. These were used for the neutronium compressor. The scan is also the same thing. Protomatter activation coils. This is pretty chill as well. Needs some protomatter though. And the scan is a matter generation coil, which is used in the mass fabricator. Antimatter containment casings, again, pretty chill. Needs non-photonic matter exclusion glass, which was used for grade 8 water. That's also the scan, and, UIV parts. And finally, the antimatter hatch. Yet again, UIV parts. Now this seems to be quite a complex multi to automate, and that is exciting. We may as well also look at the generator, called the Shielded Lagrangian Annihilation Matrix, the SLAM. This needs a large NAC reactor for the scan and a bunch of UIV parts as usual. Also some semi-stable antimatter. So this is going to have to wait until after I have the SAS set up. Oh, actually, that's not even true. I could just make this. Very slow though. Anyway, besides that, I need a miniature wormhole generator. I don't know what this does. Looks like a EU teleportation device, but this is also pretty easy to make. UHV parts, singularity scan, pretty chill. And the only thing new here in the structure itself is the antimatter annihilation matrix, which is just the protomatter activation coil with a bunch of extra UIV stuff. Overall, this seems kind of cheap. I probably could have done this a while ago. Anyway, I also need to upgrade my fusion, so that's another thing on my list. I got a lot to do. I finally got around to moving my benders and forming presses. I think this looks pretty cool. It's kind of like Windows, or not Windows, what are these things called? I can't remember. Anyway, you know what I mean. Like, this is the window, and then these are the two, like, door thingies. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm just gonna move the extruders, finally clean up the shelf for good, get rid of it, and continue on with my infra work. Ah, finally, extruders have been moved as well. But in terms of expansion, I've kind of built myself into a corner. I guess what I can do is I can expand the extruders to the side, and then I can do the same for the forming presses and bending machines if I need. Originally, I was going to stack more on top, but then that would box in the extruders, so maybe that's not really the best idea. That's done. 64 extruders, 64 bending machines, 64 forming presses, all at UMV, everything's wired up, everything's chillin'. I also don't really need this Mega DT right now. I think everything that I used it for has already been solved in some other way, probably QFTs, so I will probably tear this down as well. And that'll make a nice, clean wall for me to actually put my precise assemblers. Now, I just started making a design for the precise assemblers, and I realized because it's not wireless, I have a little bit more of a constraint on how I can build. So I'm going to use an LSC for each set of laser compatible machines. So my array of precise assemblers is going to have one. Any arrays of other laser compatible machines will also have their own dedicated LSC. And I'm going to somehow try to hide the LSC, but also make it accessible for upgrades. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this LSC here, have my laser lines connecting to each of the precise assemblers, stack them up vertically on both sides, and then make like a door sort of thing here, and then hide away the rest of it. I think that might look pretty cool. Yeah, I think I was right. This is pretty cool. And this is what it looks like on the inside. Just a bunch of lasers. It's pretty cool. I especially like the parallax effect almost of having the stuff in the back over there, and then you can see it through the machine. It really gives it some nice depth. I think that's pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Next up, I'm gonna get started making some more fusion reactors and some more of the new unlocks I mentioned earlier for the space elevators. There we go. A total of 4 compact fusion 5s. And honestly, I'm pretty close to being able to request 2 more. If I feel the need, I will, but for now, I think this is fine. I've also moved some recipes back to compact fusion, away from George, because George plasma fabrication seriously gobbles up power. I'm all the way down to 12 quintillion now, and that's starting to get a little low, which is funny to say, but that's how I feel. So I think I'm going to go set up the last of my Dysons. Oh wait, I have this thing, I forgot. But yeah, I still have 4 more Dysons to set up, so I'm going to do that. Oh, 8 more. Okay, I'm gonna do 8 more Dysons here, and then hopefully I'll start profiting power again. That'll bring me up to a bit more than 5 trillion EU per tick. I think that's decent for now. And then I'll start crafting the antimatter parts. Man, I'm nearly done with the Dysons. I just need another 40,000 Dyson Swarm modules to get through this. And the AALs are starting to become a bottleneck. I could, of course, laser overclock them, but I only have 8. So I think it's early enough that I would rather just make more. Once the Dysons are done, I'm going to make another 56, and, and I can dig out this way and make it nice and long and just have a giant just line of assembly lines. My only question is powering it. Should I do it all from one LSC? I don't think I even can for 64. So yeah, never mind. I think I'm just gonna make a bunch of LSCs, and I'm gonna have to remember to upgrade every single one of them when I do need to upgrade them, and I'm sure I will. But in other news, I finished the scans for the antimatter parts, and I've also finished encoding the patterns. And I don't know how many to make, but I'm sure one won't be enough. So I don't know, I think I'm gonna start with 4, and if whenever that stops being enough, I'll double it to 8, and I kind of doubt I'm going to need more than that. I don't know how many slams I'm going to need, but I also can't make them because I need semi-stable antimatter first. Oh, I should probably start the grind on that. But actually, I don't know why I thought I needed the SAS before I could make the slam. I think I can make this right now too. So, okay, I'm going to encode these as well, get these Dysons done, make some more advanced assembly lines. Oh, I have a lot to do. This episode's going to take forever. Ah, finally. 16 Dysons. That's a nice 5.3-ish, 5.4 trillion EU per tick. That's pretty nice. It's starting to get annoying to build these though. They're still a little bit expensive, so I have to wait quite a while to make these. Anyway, that's finally done. Now, back to the AALs. I have to say, it's really cool how much faster I can make these now. I remember my first AS line, it was such a pain to make. But now I'm just like requesting it and it's done. Like, I'm still digging out the space, and I've basically crafted all the components here. Well, I guess I can start crafting the antimatter stuff. Anyway, I have more manual labor to attend to. Actually, I need to do something else first. I am gobbling up my Xenon for all the blasting that's going on. And that's fine, it's just I need to make more. So I think I'm going to make the Mark II space pumping module. I mentioned this before, but I just never got around to it. So, okay, I need to probably upgrade my space elevator, my pumping one at least, if not both. Because I'm pretty sure I've used all the slots here, and also the Mark II, oh no, it just needs Mark III motors, so I could do this with these motors. I don't need to upgrade them. Yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do that later. Yeah, maybe I will. I don't know, man. There's a lot I gotta do. Alright, these are gonna take a lot of space. I've prepped my Ring of Loki locations, so now, when I dig up this stone, it should clear out the entire working area. I'm kinda scared this is gonna crash my game or something. In fact, I'm a little scared it's gonna dig into my existing stuff. It's probably fine. Alright, I'm gonna do a backup just in case, and now let's go. Oh, that is nice. This is gonna save me so much time. This was way more effective than I thought it would be. Look at this. This is crazy. There's still a bit of cleanup I need to do because of all the gravel and dirt, but like, this is cool. This is some seriously powerful terraforming tech. I wonder what would happen if I used a bound pickaxe or bound shovel with the Ring of Loki. Let's find out, I guess. I'm gonna try and do it safe with a bound shovel to start. Let's see. It doesn't seem to transmit the effect everywhere. Okay, that's fine. I can still use the excavator and hammer. This is gonna be so much faster. Oh man, I was about to spend like hours doing this, but now it's gonna take minutes. Oh man, all done. That was quite the endeavor. This is a lot of work. It was much faster than it could have been, so that's good. Thank you, Ring of Loki. Magic finally good for something. And what I've done here is everything is still on the same 17 subnets as before, but how do I get the channels there, you know? So what I've done is I've added wireless connectors, and then each batch of 8 assemblers is connected to its own LSC, and each batch of 16 is connected to a wireless connector. So this works out with the number of channels being at most 24 going into the wireless connector and at least 16. So I could even optimize this a little bit more by combining 2 of these subnets. I don't know. 2 of these like large sections, 2 of these blocks for all of the slices that don't have fluid input. But for all the ones that do, it kind of just has to be like this. It is what it is, I guess. The most painful part of this, honestly, was cleaning out the gravel and the dirt. And the second most painful part was connecting the wireless connectors, because that is not something that can be ring of low-keyed. So I had to link these up one by one. But this should be 8 times faster than what I had before. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will take a second look at our black hole automation now that we have crafting input buffers, and then we will craft and construct the antimatter multis. If there is time remaining, which is likely, we will also cover how to automate them. Due to skyrocketing infrastructure costs, expect most episodes from here on out to take a long time. See you next time.